Hi everyone, thank you for being here. In today's video, we are going to talk about the creative dilemma. I'm sure at one point in life, this has definitely happened to a lot of people. And so, what we're gonna try and do today is pinpoint the issue, try to find a solution if possible. If not, then we just keep persevering. Okay, so in this video, it's titled, I think I'm going to title it, I want to do everything and yet I do nothing, which is actually inspired by numerous posts that I've seen on Pinterest. I've seen a post with that title, an article with that title on Substack, if I'm not mistaken, but I haven't read it yet. I've saved it, but I haven't gotten into reading it yet, which I should have done, I think, before making this video. But here we are. I just wanted to brainstorm my own thoughts based on that little excerpt independently before I let outside opinions intervene with my own thinking. I think that's something I've been trying to do more lately, like how when we put book reviews on Storygraph or Goodreads, or when we put movie reviews on like Letterboxd, oftentimes without noticing, we do let other people's opinions of this piece of media affect our opinion. Or like when there's an article on Substack, and after reading everything, we go to the comments to see what other people think, just so that we can validate our own opinions. I'm not saying that that's bad, but me, myself, I would like to reduce the frequency of times that I do that, because I think it has affected my skills, my independent thinking skills. And so hopefully with this practice, I can get back on track and have more independent thoughts. Let me know if you relate to this. I think a lot of people do, actually. So yeah, in my last video, I mentioned that I wanted to catch up on a lot of things and a lot of hobbies, and thankfully I have managed my time like well enough, so when I do get home, I actually do have time to do the things that I want now, like either crochet or read or write. Now, but the thing is, with all of that time, I am now somehow more reluctant to get like really engrossed into whatever it is that I'm doing. And so I've been wondering why is this happening? I have all of this time, I have some amount of energy left. Why am I not doing the things that I've kept on mentioning I've been wanting to do? And so I went to a deep dive. I thought it was going to be easy, but eventually things were actually more difficult than they seemed, which is strange. Part of it, I think, is also the fact that as humans, we are conditioned on productivity nowadays. Like, it's been so ingrained into our systems, like with work, with school, everything focuses on an end product. And so when you are working on something that does not produce something instantly, our need for this instant validation, instant gratification, I forgot the word, but that our need for that, I think it affects like serotonin and stuff. Our need for that is not fulfilled, and so we run to other resources that can give us more of that quick dopamine hit. For example, like scrolling, doom scrolling, binging, whatever it is that you like doing. I think that does kind of make sense, because the things that I regularly enjoy doing when I have the time, they do not provide immediate conventional like capital results. For example, like to crochet a piece, it would take me a month. To finish a book that I like with my current routine, it would take me 2 weeks, 3 weeks. To finish writing a chapter, it would take me like 2 days, 3 days. And like, if with proper editing, like a few more days. And so with us humans nowadays, because we know that the things we enjoy doing, the things that we like, things that have meaning to us, take more time and do not give like instant results, we just refrain from doing them in general. Another aspect is also that maybe we might be afraid of the result not being as we expected, because nowadays everything is quite easy, quite accessible, I think. And pushing ourselves to go like against the odds and create something from scratch. I think not everybody, including myself on most occasions, not everybody is ready with the consequence that might get them. Like if I were to make something from scratch and it just ends up sucking, like I would be disappointed in myself. And so to prevent myself from meeting that disappointment, I just don't do it. Does that make sense? I think it does make sense to me. Let me know if it makes sense to you. So yeah, I have been reading this book recently. Let me get it. So I have been reading this book recently. It's Eric Fromm. Again, I've only made it this far, which is slight improvement compared to the last time. The last time I showed you, I was like about here, and now I'm about there, which is nice. So yeah, what I read here that was quite interesting was that I think I made a note of it. This is what I got, and I thought it was quite interesting. Our whole culture is based on the appetite for buying, on the idea of a mutually favorable exchange. Modern man's happiness consists in the thrill of looking at the shop windows and in buying all that he can afford to buy, either for cash or on installments. He or she looks at people in a similar way. Okay, that last part does not connect with the intention of this video, because technically it is about The Art of Loving by Eric Fromm. And so he approaches this approach towards people from a psychological perspective combined with a Marxist point of view. So it's like psychology and Marxism combined, which I love, by the way. He was heavily inspired by Freud, definitely, because like he made this genre popular kind of somehow, but he didn't agree with a lot of the factors that Freud included in his consideration. So Freud would talk about the idea of self, the id. I forgot the definition, but he would talk about the id, which is about like the purest human form, intention, the soul, something like that. But he would base all of human action on internalized consequences. Whereas for Fromm, he developed on that idea of the id and then combined it with external forces and how things such as capitalism definitely affects the way that people start treating themselves and start treating others. And so because he takes this more like applicable approach, I guess he looks at various different factors. I really like this approach so far, and I can't wait to finish it. But yeah, that's just something that I think is like kind of connected with the topic for today. The way that he mentions like capitalism being like very bad for humans overall. Like this is another excerpt here. The alienation from self that Marxists see as inherent in capitalism. So wait, let me cite the full sentence. To Fromm, the analyst's job included understanding character as a response to cultural forces, such as the alienation from self that Marxists see as inherent in capitalism. Okay. Humans always live within humans always live within relationships. And Fromm was finally a humanist. For the whole of his life, he devoted his mornings to activities that could not make money, to study and quiet thought. It's like, isn't that nice? Difficult to achieve, but nice. And then he mentions, We are social creatures made anxious by our separateness. And so the separateness is something that is like pushed on by capitalism, of course. This is something that I think really connects because we know what we want, we know what we like, but we're very like scared to approach it. I think that is somehow connected to like us understanding ourselves, and it's more like our lack of understanding of ourselves, which is of course driven by all of these external capitalist forces. So yeah, do read this if it seems interesting to you. It is interesting to me. Now, the challenge would be how to overcome this. And first of all, of course, how I am planning to overcome that is by finishing this and seeing how I can apply this to my own life. The things that I like, of course. I've written a few things down here. The first would be a mindset shift, or we could call it a rewiring. I'd say that if you are undergoing this issue, what we need to do is learn how to shift this feeling of accomplishment from a finished product to a more process loving mindset, which is much easier said than done. I've been saying it for a year, I think, but it is really difficult to apply. I do need to keep reminding myself about how the process is more important than the result. And so I think having like written notes like this can help keep things in perspective and help us be more reminded of like the journey and the good things about like enjoying the journey. So yeah, that is one thing. Next, second, I know this kind of goes into contrast, which were like the previous points mentioned, like how capitalism always drives productivity and everything needs to be like very strict. And so what I wrote here is, after a mindset shift, second is making a schedule. But I think what I meant here by making a schedule is not like a schedule like keeping it strict, but allowing yourself time to do things that you like, whether you like it or not. Like, you do have to be disciplined enough to stick with it. And even though that is a very like disciplined, like productive capitalist mindset, I would say maybe that is necessary because that is what we are so used to at the moment. So making the schedule, setting this time like weekly, is what we need to become more flexible later on, if that makes sense. So making a schedule, yes, that is the second part. So what kind of schedule that you'll have to make is either choosing a day and then a time of day. So it doesn't have to be like hours that are fixed into the schedule. You can if you think it will help, but it didn't really help me when I was like trying this out. So choose a few days a week, or like a number of days a week, and then like keep a checklist so that once you are available to do the task that you've been wanting to do for yourself, you actually have something to keep track of. And this also, in my opinion, connects to the first point, which affects our mindset shift. Because when you have things written down and you have like a checklist, for example, oh, today I want to write a chapter, tomorrow I'm going to edit the chapter, and then a few days after that I'm going to brainstorm for the next article or the next chapter or whatever that I'm writing. Having things like, I need to write it down here, having things like written down like this, at least it helps keep you in check, and it keeps you in check of all the things that you've already done. I think like as humans, we tend to focus on the negatives too much, and so having this like written record, this archive list, whatever you want to call it, helps serve as a reminder of whatever it is that you want to do, and everything that you have done, because we tend to put ourselves down too much, thinking that we haven't done enough. No amount of productivity is ever enough. So using this methodology, it forces us to see what we already have done, what we have already done. Third, this is very important in my opinion and difficult. It sounds easier than it's done. The third point here is not caring. And so what I mean by not caring is not caring in the end result, not caring about other people's opinions, and not caring whether you are good enough or not. Because that is, for creative people, I think, a big hurdle most of the time. We're so critical towards everything, and especially towards ourselves, that again, when we want to do something, we overthink it too much. We end up finding all of these different problems, and then eventually we just use it as an excuse to not do what it is that we want to do. Third point, start not caring and just start doing. Like, believe in yourself, believe in your capabilities, know that you can do whatever it is you want to do. And even if the end result is not what you expected, at least you've tried it already, and then you know like how to improve it the next time. There is this quote like, writing 10 bad books is better than not writing a book at all. Like, I forgot what it is, but that's kind of like the gist of it. And I agree, like, it's better to just do whatever it is you want to do. I've been saying that a lot recently. Just do it and don't care too much about the result, as long as it makes you happy. Like, in the end, you will find whatever that is, and take this as a chance for you to hone your craft. And this is advice to myself as well, actually. Step 4, just continue doing it for as long as you want. Again, as long as you want, okay? Because it's always good, it's always okay if you want to switch out things and like try new things. You don't have to stick with something once you've decided on it like forever. This is also something that I used to struggle with. I used to feel bad. For example, I had like a crochet project going on, and then I wasn't really in the mood to do it, but I really wanted to write. But then I felt like, oh no, if I didn't crochet at this exact moment, I wouldn't finish my project in my expected deadline. Again, something that I set by myself. There are no like external factors needing me to finish this project ASAP. And so I was doing the crochet like without like any happy intentions. Like, I wasn't really happy doing it. I was happy, but I would have been happier reading or writing at that moment, because like it was just the vibe. And so when I finished the project and then I wanted to read, I didn't want to do it anymore. I think like as humans, we have all of these different aspects to ourselves, to our being. As long as you are flexible and you're consistently doing everything, as long as you have this like rotation of projects and then this schedule to keep yourself in check so that you're consistently doing the things you like, you have the freedom to switch over. But again, you do need to contemplate on why you are switching over like in the middle of a project. The main point is that it is always okay to change your stance, because I think changing is a part of growing. And the more often you change and then you reflect and then you realize what you actually do like, it makes the whole process of creating and reflecting, looking into yourself, it makes everything much easier. So just keep doing it. You know yourself, you know what you actually want. Just do it, okay? I know that sounds very cheesy, but I think that is like all there is to it. It's very simple, but it sounds very simple, but it's much more difficult to apply. I am planning on applying all of these things myself, and of course that journey will be updated on here. Right now I've really been enjoying like reading and writing, and I do crochet on the side, so it keeps changing, but it does make me happy. And so I hope that with these steps it can help you to rearrange your priorities and your projects and your life as well. because I think this can be applied not just to like creative projects or creative lives, but to anything really. As long as you rewire your mindset, you make a fixed schedule, or you make a kind of timeline for yourself, and you start believing in yourself more, not caring about others, and you just apply all of these consistently with flexibility, I think that is enough for anything. So yeah, that is the end of this video. Do let me know what you think, like if it makes sense to you. If you have any other tips, like maybe you've tried this and then you found an alternative, feel free to share in the comments, because I'm sure it would help a lot of people. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.